And welcome in. It's the Fort Worth Toros running with the Bulls segment for the re-signing period going into season 19. I'm Steven Hacker. Here with me tonight is Robert Garrett Jr. and Eric Vincent. And we're going to kind of just go ahead and get into this. We're going to announce some signings tonight um, for your pleasure and let everybody see what's going on with the Toros. Really excited to get everyone back with us. Really excited to get these re-signings announced. It's something that it's something that we feel like it's a testament to the hard work that we put in when players want to come back and sign. And when we look down the spreadsheet here, we got a lot of names coming back, and I know that makes us feel really nice that players want to be here. They trust in our vision and in our process, and so with that, Robert, I wanted to kick it over to you. Robert's down on the bottom right, and wanted to kick it to you, Robert, and see what you had to say about getting this thing started.
Yeah, I'm excited to start this process of the off season and getting to announce our re-signings and headed into the week of free agency and things like that. I also just real quick wanted to say this is the first time I've seen your face in a little while, and like I'm all about this mustache.
Hey, man, thanks. I appreciate that. Down just below me is Eric Vincent, SFL broadcaster. Everybody here that you're looking at, we've all been broadcasters, all on the broadcast team, but SFL broadcaster Eric Vincent down below me. Eric, go ahead and introduce yourself, and what are you excited for tonight?
Hey, what's up, SFL Nation? Go Toros! I'm extremely excited to announce, like you said, Dak. I mean, just looking at everybody that's coming back, it's exciting. This is like a family to me, and going through all these names and seeing all these good people that we've roped in. I mean, you were 100% correct. It's a testament to you guys in the front office. It's a testament to the locker room that we've built here together. And I'm just looking forward to taking over the South Division again, getting ourselves back into the playoffs, and making some noise.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love it. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the next scene here. Get this going. Ooh, we moved over to the right. Um, and so wanted to start off this re-signing show with somebody that's everybody's familiar with in the league. It's going to be a no-brainer. We wanted to, but it's somebody that's paramount to the Toros and our franchise. And without this player, we wouldn't be where we are. He's done so much for us. And so with that, we are going to reveal our first re-signing of the offseason. Robert Garrett Jr. going to sign at an 89.47. Robert, why don't you go ahead and explain that mishap earlier in the offseason? Yeah.
Well, I got a little overzealous. I saw all the money signs and went to run. Uh, then we kind of realized that there were a bunch of other guys on the team we had to pay. So, um, giving back the money. Still really excited to come back onto the field with these guys, and I think we've got a lot to prove.
Absolutely. Eric?
Hey, glad to have him back. All star this season, all star for the past, 3 seasons now, I think. Isn't that right, Robert?
Yeah, three straight.
So, yeah, obviously an integral part of our team and our front office, and definitely glad to have him back.
Yeah, Robert finished just behind Mike Daggs in receiving yards, second in tight ends for receiving yards last season. Um, Surpassed Mike in receptions. I believe was third in receiving touchdowns behind Mike and Jack Wall. So, again, Robert is paramount to our offense. I mean, we try to feed him the ball as much as possible. He's a monster on the field, 6'7", just very, very difficult to cover. Somebody that we're just so happy to have. We're going to have a quarterback change over this season, and it's always nice to have big targets for those quarterbacks come into. They may not always have their eyes. They may not have that rhythm, but when you have a big 6'7" mountain of a man out there, easy to find that receiver. So, really excited to have Robert back. Of course, Robert's a co-owner with the Toros. But again, wanted to start off with him. I think he's probably our biggest brand, our biggest player, most well-known player. So wanted to give everybody that treat right out the gate for joining us. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next re-signing, and it's somebody that does a lot of hard work for us in the trenches, and I think we're going to kind of stick down there in the mud for a couple of picks here. But why don't we go ahead and introduce the next player coming back to the Toros, and that is Jabril Curse, defensive end, signing at a 63.42 value for us. Robert, why don't you go ahead and break that one down?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to have Jabril back this season. I remember last season he went the first few games, maybe three or four even, without a tackle, a sack, anything like that. And I remember it got to the point where he finally made some kind of play. It might have been a tackle for loss. I can't quite remember, but like even I was pumped up about it. Just ready to see him make the moves and excited to see him come out for his sophomore season.
Yeah, sometimes with the rookies, especially in the defensive line or offensive line, you get it. You can kind of get lost in the sauce, so to speak, where it's hard to see that production right away. It really is kind of a long grind for some of those positions, but a lot of the times for defensive ends and defensive linemen, they can have one good game and that kind of makes up for the season. If you can get 4 sacks or 3 sacks in a game, that's huge. Eric, you play on the defensive side of the ball. You got anything you want to add to any of that?
Yeah, I think Robert hit the nail on the head there, and Jabril, it's always tough, like you guys said, coming into the league and trying to find your footing and really, progressing and seeing the product out there on the field, seeing the hard work being put in, and it's one of those things where it's a grind, and he ended up with a sack and 3 tackles for loss, you know. He wasn't necessarily the most prominent part of our defensive line, but he's an important part of our defensive line, and he's definitely going to be showing out in his sophomore season for sure. And I'm glad to have him back.
Absolutely, and again, it's something that's when you're in a position like that, and the player elects to come back, whenever they have kind of what we can say is a down season, but when they elect to come back, that feels really nice. Fort Worth has historically, in our franchise history, has had a really good defense. We traditionally get pretty good production out of the defensive line, and so I think Jabril maybe listened to some of what we said. There were some numbers there to kind of back that up, and I think that was a big part in him wanting to stay and allowing us, allowing himself and allowing us the time to let him grow and get him that opportunity to shine. So with that one, we're going to go ahead and move on to another defensive lineman, and that's going to be Jeff Duffy, the Duff Man, somebody that if you don't know, just has meant so much to Nacho and I. Nacho, another one of the co-owners behind the scenes on all this, not here on the panel with us tonight, but always doing something behind the scenes. Thank you, Nacho. But Jeff has been a big part of Nacho and I, our history here and our tenure here in the league. Was with us when we were at Queen City. When we got our team, Jeff kind of stayed behind at Queen City, and that was we wanted him to stay there. We didn't want to poach anybody from Queen City. We felt like he was such a big part of Queen City that we felt like it was the wrong move to bring him over. But Queen City had some changeover in some of their front office, not their ownership, but just how they were doing things. They were kind of changing directions. And that allowed Jeff to come over and rekindle some of that flame with us. And since then, maybe his numbers are down a little bit, but he's still such a dominant figure on the defensive line. He eats up double teams. He always gets that extra look, that extra offensive lineman, or a chip from a fullback or a running back. They're always trying to find ways to slow him down. So everybody's well aware of what kind of player he is. I think he's third all time in sacks. He's just one of those players that just does the job and does it so well that we're ecstatic to have him back, not only on the field but off the field. Somebody that again, Nacho and I really like the guy, have had a lot of history with him, and we're excited that he's continuing to stick with us. Robert, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm super excited to have Jeff Duffy coming back, and like you said, lower numbers last season, but I think he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder, somewhat. I know he's excited to see his player perform again, and just last season he was kind of an important part, just because we had so many young guys come in. It was nice to have that veteran presence around to help with the team.
EK?
Agreed. And I mean, he's one of the bigger names in this league. He had a ton of success in Queen City, and it it's nice that he'd come over here, and I know that free agency, that offseason, when word had hit the locker room that he was coming in, I was super excited because he's one of those guys that when he gets on a roll, it's hard to stop him. And even with a down year, 5.5 sacks is a really good year for a defensive lineman. So, I mean, shoot, no one was going to catch. I forget who it was at the top with like 11 sacks, but 11 and a half was Taekwon Hale. No one was going to catch him this season, but
And 11 and a half,
beyond that,
11 and a half is actually a pretty down season for as a whole position group for sacks. I mean, 11,
right.
normally you see somebody kind of flirting with 20, and
Yep.
didn't quite get there this season. So again, I think that's a big testament to teams investing in offensive linemen. I think that you could easily track that to say, oh, teams are they have more offensive linemen. Those offensive linemen have progressed more, and those players are getting better. And I think you can see that as a result. I think Vancouver was bragging about they had like 16 sacks last season. They have two great offensive linemen. So I think that regardless of how great some of these defensive linemen are in the SFL, I think that there's a growth on the offensive side that teams are maybe going to have to rethink their strategies and their base. How they use their gap play to put pressure on the quarterback. So now we're going to move on. We're going to go ahead and move to the next player, and we're going to look at Aaron Alexander, our little mighty mouse there in the offensive backfield. Aaron's also our GM. Somebody that's going into the rookie season, his rookie season a couple seasons ago. In the offseason, he had a couple of really good plays in the SFLM that I liked, but what really stood out to me was Aaron the person. There was multiple times I caught a broadcast that he did, or just ran into him in public. He jumped in on a couple of my streams a couple of times, and we just really hit it off. He was just somebody that I really liked what he was about. And I felt like, regardless of what it is, I want him on my team, and we're going to grow with this kind of person. Eric, do you have any experiences with Aaron? Anything you want to add about his player on or off the field?
Yeah, I mean his enthusiasm is infectious. After meeting him at the last convention in Houston, um, he's just a great guy to be around, and just being able to jump in right away, coming out of the minors and expressing a desire for to be a GM, putting in an expansion offer this past expansion here. It's one of those things where guys like that you don't see a ton of, and to have him on your team and to have his enthusiasm and his willing to get out there and stick his hands in wherever they need to be, that's invaluable. It doesn't even necessarily matter what his performance is on the field. Him, the person, I'm happy to have him here.
Robert, you've got a lot of GM experience. That's kind of how you got the nod to get into ownership. So why don't elaborate on that a little bit more if you can?
One thing I also wanted to say real quick to correct you earlier. He is our little human wrecking ball. I got your
Not the
back,
Hercules.
Aaron. But yeah, just having a good GM in the front office is really key for a team. Somebody that can really get in there and talk to the rookies and spend all that time to really work with them, learn who fits with the team and things like that. And Aaron has done a lot of that for us. He's been pretty good with the rookies. He's coaching in the minor leagues as well, so able to talk to him a little bit more often and really help in that regard. He's
Absolutely.
also very, very proud of like the draft process when we get to that. I noticed that last season when I was able to help with his first one, really kind of leading the way and helping fight through the brush that is the draft.
Yeah, there's a lot of names you have to filter through, right? And a lot of people are good at saying the right thing, and sometimes you have to dig a little deeper, right? And I think Aaron is the type that understands that, right? He understands. I think a lot of it is due to the fact of how much he's willing to contribute, maybe not everybody has that much time to give. And so I think he has a very good eye for those kinds of things of, recognizing, okay, maybe they're not invested as much as some of the rest of us, but they're still good people, and that's extremely important to Fort Worth. We want good people. We want people to have the right attitude, the right mentality, and then as we develop friendships and relationships, then when the wins start coming, it makes all that stuff so much better. And so it's something that's very important to us, and Aaron champions that 100%. It's something that it was why we didn't have any hesitation making the move to general manager with him, and he's done a great job since. Super excited to have him back for season 19 at that 67-16 value. And we're going to move on to the next player now, and that's going to be our cornerback, Adam Leech. I feel like I can never talk about Adam without mentioning that I feel like he was snubbed his defensive rookie of the year honors. I mean, they're like looking at the defensive rookie of the year candidates this season. Josh Rowe had a great season. No shade to him, but Adam had a sack, an interception, tackle for loss. I mean, he filled up the stat column, and it was more than one of a lot of those stats. And he was completely disregarded, completely ignored. He's moved up from the nickel spot to our cornerback 2 to now our cornerback 1. So I mean, Adam has grown tremendously in his time in the league. He's a former Albuquerque Adam. Jason Williams had a big key in us securing him with Adam, and then once he got into our locker room, he just fit right in. He was a perfect fit, perfect recommendation from Jason, and since then has done nothing but grow for us, has been nothing but a dynamite cornerback, and now we're super excited to give him the opportunity to take on some of the best wide receivers in the league. Eric, you got anything you want to add?
No, and you touched on his stats a little bit there, and I 100% agree with you. I mean, not being even in the conversation for defensive rookie of the year is shameful to a degree. I mean, 76 total tackles, 10 passes defended, 9 interceptions. I mean, that's pretty damn good for a rookie, and especially not even at necessarily the top dog spot. And I mean, shoot, he's more than showed that he can get out there on the field and play with the best of them. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing his opportunity out there on the defense, and you know him getting a chance to take on those top dog wide receivers and see how he fares. And to piggyback off of your other point, he's a great guy too. I'd love seeing him in the chat. Always very fun to chat in our locker room. We just all of our guys are great. All of our guys and gals, they're absolutely great.
Cowboy?
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up Eric there, he's a guy that I enjoy seeing in the locker room. But one thing that I noticed with him is he's a guy that can very easily rally the troops, gets everybody going, and gets the conversation started if it was just going astray like it does sometimes. But an all-star again this season. Love to have him. Excited to see him play at that number 1 spot and really see what he can do.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be somebody that could be a breakout candidate, right? Maybe some of that overshadowing early on in his career, maybe now stepping in, because Aiden Davis has big shoes to fill. I mean, Aiden Davis had a reputation in and of himself of being a shutdown corner. So Adam's going to have big shoes to fill, and I feel like this is a great opportunity for him to come out and show the league what he's made of. Internally at the Toros, we know all about it, but now I think it's a chance for the rest of the league to kind of take notice. So really, really excited. Watch out for Adam Leech this season. Moving on to the next one, we're going to look at defensive tackle Jerry D. Gond, somebody that maybe value-wise doesn't pop off the sheet, but in the locker room, wouldn't trade him for the world. He's a free safety in the SFLM. Unfortunately, we didn't have that spot available for him. We had plans, we had things already laid out, and it's so unfortunate. But at the same time, Jerry took that in stride, converted to maybe a position that some people don't find attractive, and took it in stride, took it like a champ, and was a great locker room presence. Asked a lot of questions. For a rookie, that's something that I guess the more experienced or team owners and general managers, that's what we like to see. We want we want you to ask questions so that we can kind of gauge where you are and see what you're thinking, how do you look at the league. And Jerry D always asked a lot of questions, was always involved, cared about his progression, cared about his teammates, cared about the locker room, and that's extremely valuable. And so, when you find a player like that, as he was an undrafted free agent for us. We had selected somebody in the draft, and when that signing fell through, we had to go find somebody, and one of the people we found was Jerry D, and it was couldn't have asked for a better match. I wish we had drafted him. I wish we had done things differently, but we're so fortunate that we found him when we did. Robert, you want to elaborate on any of that?
I mean, another thing that I want to point out that I'm excited to see him build off of is, as you said, he was an undrafted free agent signing for us. So he came in as a base copper, 20 tackles, 5.5 sacks as the second defensive tackle, and starting out as a base copper. It's just been really fun to watch his player grow and to be able to continue to watch it grow.
Eric?
Yeah, Robert took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, for him to come in at a base level like that, I mean, just bottom of the barrel, that it is what it is sort of thing. And to have that sort of production on the field and then pair that, you're absolutely right. And he is constantly in the locker room, Steven, and he's constantly asking questions. He's constantly trying to pep people up. He wants to know more and he wants to learn more and he wants to be better. And to already have some production right out the gate with just trying to get your footing in this league is fantastic. And like I said, he's a great person on top of it.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better myself. And so moving to the next signing. Oh, looky there. On the panel, EK Vincent coming in at a flat 81. Inside linebacker. Can't say enough good things about you, Eric. We met in broadcasting. You were a big part of me gaining the confidence to speak about the league, to invest in the league, become a part of it. And I can say that about a lot of people, but I really mean it with you. You were somebody that I felt like we had the same kind of personality, we had the same kind of sense of humor in a lot of things, and like Josh Zirkle and other guys on the team that were there, and Robert. I look for people that motivate me to be better, and you're one of those people, man. No joke. You and Cade, I love you guys to death. Wouldn't trade you guys for nothing, man. I mean, you are an integral part of my experience here. Without you, it wouldn't be the same. So thank you so much for being here with us, man. I love everything about you. I love what you do on and off the field for us. I don't want to sit here and kiss your ass for too long, Robert. You want to add anything?
I mean, you did a lot of sucking up there. So
dude, I love him, man. I'm sorry.
Too much, but I mean, yeah, he knows I love hanging out with EK any chance I get, just chatting, talking, just like a lot of guys in the locker room. It's a bummer I won't be able to hang out at the next convention, but maybe somehow find a way up to Ohio in the new house.
House party, break it in. I'm down.
Yes, sir.
I won't make you talk about yourself, man. Unless you want to. You got anything you want to add about signing yourself?
Well, I was just gonna say y'all are gonna make me tear up. I mean, I love you guys to death. Like I said, you guys are my family. I love the Toros, and I'm always here to pick you guys up whenever anything's going on. I'll always be in your corner. I'll always be your biggest supporter. So I'm so glad to be back with this great team. Awesome. Moving on, how can we talk about Eric Vincent without talking about Cade Stevens? My best friend, Cade Stevens. Gonna have a number change this season, went to 16, but signing at an 87.21 value. We had Mike Twinscrew move on. He from what I understand, taking a coaching opportunity elsewhere, which is great for him. But in that gives an opportunity for Cade, and we're super excited to bring Cade back to our wide receiver 2 this season. Cade has been a slow growth, slow develop for us. It's we had to fix some things with his build. But he's closer now than ever. We finally got speed and agility where we like it. We can really start worrying about some of those more minor things, some of those secondary attributes and things like that. But, super excited to get him back in an opportunity where he can get more targets in a game and really get him the shine that we feel like he deserves. He's got such a great history in the league, with the inbounds call with Vancouver championship game, and just
he's just somebody that, again, we love so much. His personality is infectious. That all the things that he does for us, we could never repay him. So we're just happy that he feels the same way about us. So thrilled to have him back. Eric, why don't you talk about him first, and then we'll round it out with Robert.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. He's my best friend, and I love having him here. When you were announcing the expansion opportunity here with the Toros, we knew, we were like, okay, if he gets it, that's going to be it right there, and we're going to be hopping on board that train, and it's going to be great. And sure enough, it's been great from the start, and it's only going to get better. He came out like a bullet out of a train in season 9 with Vancouver, almost 1,000-yard season just right out the gate. And little tweaks here and there to his build, like you said, but overall, as a guy, love him to death. He's my family. He's my brother from another mother, and I would do anything for him, just like the rest of you guys.
On you, Robert.
Yeah, Cade getting the opportunity to step up again this season with Twins crew coming in last season. He willingly stepped back to wide receiver 3 for us. So now he's getting to come back into that wide receiver 2 spot, and I think he's ready to claim it as his own. He had a lot of big plays last season and really stepped up the game. So I'm excited to see it continue.
Absolutely. Gonna carry on now. Looking at Delanie Nash. So Delanie has been with us since our first season, back in season 14, and I try to give him as much credit as I can. He's not super active in the SFL. And now in our locker room, he's around all the time, and I cannot say enough good things about him. He seems to always have the right perspective on things. So sometimes, you have a group of people and they can all start thinking the same way, thinking about something or focusing on the wrong thing. And Delanie always does a really good job of kind of resetting that and attacks things from a fun perspective. And I really appreciate his candor, how he talks. He seems very measured, and I really appreciate that. He's not one to just knee-jerk reaction something. He seems like he thinks about what he says, and when you go through a season like what we had last season, you need that. You need people that understand that there's kind of a big picture thinking here. He seems to have a long-term plan, and we really appreciate that. We're super fortunate to be a part of his long-term plan, and he's played great. Again, another player, I think our secondary doesn't get a lot of recognition, a lot of credit, but somebody for us that's made a lot of really good plays throughout his entire career, somebody that's, has a spot with us as long as he wants it. Delanie's a fantastic guy. Eric, you got anything you want to add to that?
Delanie, he's on the linebacking core with me, man, and I absolutely love him, and when he has something to say, you see it. It's not one of those things that he's just kind of off in the corner somewhere and you don't necessarily pay him any mind. When he says something in the locker room, you pay attention to it. And we've had our ups and downs, and we've had people, including Delanie, in there that have asked where we're going and what we can do and things like that. And again, going back to previous points, those are people that you want in your locker room. You want people that'll ask questions and ask you, hey, what's the game plan? What are we doing? And yeah, Delanie's another guy that I want in that secondary with me, and he's just an all-around good guy.
Round it out, Robert.
Yeah, no, Delanie's kind of a special one for me. I've been able to be with him from pretty much day one, other than when he was originally one of the non-contract players with Vancouver. I got to spend his SFLM season with him essentially because I was the coach of Boise. He was on the team as well, and really just followed along. I tried to coin the nickname Delanie Smash after he broke EJ Menson's kneecap. It didn't really stick though, and it's pretty unfortunate.
It should. We should try to bring that back. I actually had forgotten about that entirely. I love it. Delanie Smash. We're bringing it back. Gonna carry on. Moving on to the next one. looking at Charlie Baker now. So Charlie Baker was our fourth wide receiver last season, and we've already explained the Mike Twins crew exodus, and now Cade Stevens getting a promotion. Well, that means Charlie Baker gets a promotion, and really excited for Charlie. Last season in our offense, just didn't get a lot of looks, and that's unfortunate, But in Fort Worth's defense, we've always kind of been a more heavy set team. We did try to roll out some 4 wide receiver sets. We tried to get creative in those ways. It's just not necessarily with what our team comp is. And so with Charlie moving to our slot wide receiver, our wide receiver 3 spot, we feel much more confident about being able to get Charlie the play, the play that they deserve. And so it's just unfortunate last season, but super excited during the off season, during the re-signing talks, that Charlie had a lot of faith in our vision, that had some questions about being a two-way player, right? And that's understandable. I try to put myself in other people's shoes when they ask those questions, and it made sense. Wanted to make sure that we weren't stringing them along or not doing anything the right way. And so once I kind of got on that footing, it was like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. He just asking for opportunity, not saying that he's unhappy that we elected to go with a two-way contract or anything like that. So I felt like once we kind of saw through what Charlie wanted for his player, I felt like we were able to better suit and better come to terms in the contract, and so we're super excited to get Charlie back and get him and get the receivers some more looks. Robert, why don't you add on to that?
Yeah, like you said, he didn't get a lot of looks last season, but the thing that did happen is when he got looks, he made big plays. I think he had a couple touchdowns. I know a few deep passes went to him. Was always able to make a presence when he was on the field. And I'm excited to see him step up a little bit more. He's going to be, returning the kicks and the punts and things like that. So just to see him utilized a little bit more will be super exciting.
Eric?
Yeah, and it's always exciting when you have those people that they want to do more, and they're looking for their time to shine. And Charlie is a great example of that. It's disappointing to see Twin Screw go because he was a good part of our receiving core, but at the same time, we've got people in house already that are looking to have their opportunity. I know Cade wants to see himself get back to a more prominent fixture in the receiver argument in the league. Same thing with Charlie. Charlie wants to go ahead and make his mark. So this is great news. I'm glad that he's going to be returning the kicks and punts and all of that fun jazz. And it's only going to go up from here.
And Nacho's asking me to give him moderators, and I don't know how to do that. So I'm over here trying to figure things out on the fly and failing miserably.
I think Eddie Gage also has a question.
I will check that, look into that now. And since I moved to a different screen, the question went away. Did you see the question? Will you read the question, please?
He just asked if viewers could ask questions.
Yeah,
Sorry,
ask
maybe
questions.
another one.
Ask questions away. Yeah, ask all the questions you want. I'll try to keep a better eye on the Twitch chat. I just noticed that whenever I click away, sometimes it freezes the other panelists' camera, but it seemed to be working now. Click their name or mod. Okay. If I just type that in here. Thanks, guys. Sorry. Thanks for bearing with me. Either the other panelists could talk and not make me look so bullish right now.
Look, we're professional BS artists, man. Okay, so
Yeah, so I think that worked. I don't know. Hopefully it did. Hopefully it didn't. I don't know. But yeah, ask questions. Offensively, what will the identity of the Toros be next season? Well, we haven't gotten through all the signings, Eddie. So I think when you see the rest of the signings, I think you will be able to ascertain some of that. But I'll gladly answer that at the end. We can talk a little bit about some of that without revealing too much. Absolutely. So we'll move on from Charlie. If you've got any other questions, please ask. So moving on, we have Jason Williams returning for us at a 106.15 value. Can't say enough good things about Jason. Jason did put an expansion bid in unsuccessfully, but we were happy that Jason took that step. That was something that when Jason joined the Toros back in our first season, that was something that Jason wanted for himself, and we were trying to do everything in our power to help him get there. We let him coach. He's been a part of our GM, our front office. He's been a GM for us. He's done work with the SFLM, the Albuquerque Adams. They won 2 championships, had an undefeated season. Jason's a great guy. I mean, maybe not the most active, maybe not as active as others would like, but there's room for that. You don't have to be the most active person. You just have to be in at the right times. And Jason's in at the right times, and will put the work in. So he's somebody that not only on the field but off the field we have a lot of respect for. He is the workhorse. He is the number one piece of our offense, has been for the last 4 seasons. I said it earlier on. I think my personal stream that I did, Jason hasn't finished outside of like the top 6 in rushing since he's been a Toro. He is our offense. We have some good weapons. Robert being one of those weapons, but we like to run the ball, and so that all kind of starts with Jason Williams. Eric, do you got anything you want to add about Williams?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Not as active as some of the other folks that you kind of see in the locker room, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, you see him all over the place. He's constantly doing something. So, yeah, there's only so much time in the day. There's, if you're coaching in the minors, if you're doing GM, if you're putting forth, an expansion bid, all at different times. Yeah, there's not going to be a point in time where you can just constantly chat it up in the locker room and just BS with the guys. So it's understandable. And, looking at the player that he is on the field, why would you not want to have someone like that on top of him being a good guy uh, with everything else? So, yeah, 1,400 yards, 1,400 plus yards the past 2 seasons. Yeah, I want him back. I want him back bad. He's here.
Robert?
Yeah, I've always said every cowboy needs his workhorse, so that's absolutely what Jason is for me. And last season I blocked for him. I tasted some blood, and I want more. Let's get him the ball.
Right, that's right. He is so important to what we do, and we love to feed him the ball. We love to get him involved. He makes some of the best plays. It's super exciting when he breaks a play. That walk-off touchdown that he had when everybody was calling for us to kick the field goal, and he changed direction on the field and ran that in. That was such a great play. Something that only Williams, in my opinion, can do. There's only a handful that can do that, and we're lucky to have one of them that can do it. Moving on, going to go on to the next now. We've got Amelia Rose, our rookie kicker from last season, is going to return. Super excited to have Amelia. Amelia is involved in some other leagues, and we're super excited about that, because I think that the SFL is one of the greatest sim leagues out, if not the greatest. And so it's something that I'm super excited to try to offer that. I'm very competitive, and so I feel like this is a great chance for the SFL to show this person what the league has to offer. And so I'm excited to have Amelia back. I like some of the conversations that we had during the season. And it's just one of the things that, like I said, I'm really excited for growth. And, whenever there's somebody new in the locker room, I really like that opportunity, right? Because it's kind of a breath of fresh air. It's a new perspective for some of the players that have been on our team since, for 4 seasons now, right? They may be stuck in their ways of thinking about things. So it's nice to have somebody with experience in other leagues, but also a new perspective on the SFLM and how that process is going. So really excited to have Amelia back. I want to say progress very well. And that's something that we're extremely excited about. When you can get a kicker that's consistently able to hit a 50-yard field goal, that's extremely valuable to your team. So Amelia's right there at that spot. took over for Taco very well. Robert, do you have anything you want to add about Amelia?
Yeah, just kicked for us, like you said, very well last season. If you link all the ties together and count it that way, um, was actually sixth in the league in field goals made. It obviously spreads out a little bit more if you don't count the ties together, but um, played really well as a rookie, and I think is going to continue to step it up for us.
Sure.
Hopefully in extra points because we're going to find the end zone a lot.
Yeah, I'd like to see more end zone. More ones than threes, please.
Agreed. But no, 20 plus made kicks. I mean, made all her kicks. I mean, what more could you want from a kicker? Plus, again, like you said, Steven, it's always fun to see a new perspective in the locker room. They come in, and they look around, and they're like, okay, what next? What do we do? That's the kind of person that Amelia is, where they're just trying to figure out what makes this league tick. And it's great to have a good locker room full of good guys in the front office that are willing to answer those questions for anybody who asks them.
Absolutely, and learn, right? And maybe there's something that Amelia has experienced that I can learn from, or that the league can learn from, and maybe there's something that they can learn from us. Who knows? But like I said, it's always interesting. It's a fresh perspective is always nice. It's always nice. Gonna move on to our next re-signing, looking at J.L. Browning, another one of my personal favorite players, somebody that's been with us since our inception, and had took over a linebacker spot for us at base bronze, so base copper. I'm sorry. Much like Jerry D. Gond, had the unfortunate task of just kind of being the last person on the team, kind of thing, just kind of filling out the roster, and has stuck with us, and now has grown into a tremendous value at 72.36. I mean, just right there now, ready to really take that step. And it's taken 4 seasons. It's been such a long grind for JL, but one of the things that I always, whenever I talk to Commish about stuff when we're in broadcast, is I tell him, I'm like, JL plays above his value consistently. We get so much return for that value that he's been at for so long. For him to make the plays, like, you would look at his player value, you would think he's never going to make those plays. Consistently tips balls, makes tackles that you think he's not going to make. We've had tremendous returns from JL, and so not only the on-field stuff is a great return, but JL the person, when he graces us with his presence in the locker room, always wants to talk about football. He likes to talk about the NFL a lot, so we compare favorite teams in there, and he always comes in and talks about the Bengals and their recent success. So he was very happy when all that was going down, and so he's somebody that, again, speaks the language, very much fits the mold here, and we're excited to bring him back for a 5th season now. Eric, you play in the linebacking core. Why don't you go ahead and talk about your brother in arms there?
Yeah, JL on the hit squad, man. I love having him there, and he's a lot of fun in the locker room. Like you said, likes to talk a lot of NFL when the season's going on. Very easily and proudly talks about his Bengals, much to Cowboys' chagrin. But you're absolutely right. He plays above his value on the field. I mean, the fact that coming in as a base bronze and you have 100 total tackles in year 4, I mean, that's insane. The fact that he's finally getting to this point where he's finally, you're seeing the product on the field, you're seeing the hard work pay off. I can't wait to have him back. He's a great linebacker. He's a great guy, great presence in the locker room. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about JL.
Robert?
Yeah, he's just, as we've kind of said, he's always filled the spot we've asked him to fill, and done it very well for the value that he was at. For a few seasons there, he had to obviously make big plays because they were running the ball away from EK Vincent. Now we got EK in the middle. It's a little bit harder to do, but JL sets that strong side edge for us, and just has always played really well however we needed him to play.
Yeah, you can't say enough about that. I think that's kind of the trend. I mean, if you've been listening, that's the kind of people we look for. It's everybody is going to have an opportunity Everybody, now we can't control when it's going to happen. We can do our best to try to make, put players in positions, but it's ultimately it's the right attitude. Having the right attitude, understanding and having the trust that we are trying to scheme you into being a superstar. We're not trying to hold you back in any way. And so JL was somebody that I think that he saw it, and he saw that we were committing to him, and so I think that earned us a lot of loyalty in return. And I can't say enough good things about a player like that. Willing to grow with you and stick with you through the ups and downs, and now coming back for a 5th season, can't be more excited to have him. Going to move on to the next re-signing. Going to be J.Z. Bacon, somebody that as a rookie for us didn't get a lot of workload, and you can see his 81.38 value. That's after the it's his what he accrued through last season. So we took him on as a project, but what we saw in Josh and Jay-Z was, again, a Toro. I mean, he demonstrated all of the right things in all of his off the field stuff. Every time we talked to him, every time we saw him, he was doing the right stuff, and we wanted that. We want, now we do have Jason, Throyum's our number one back, but Jay-Z was somebody that we felt like deserved an opportunity. And I think everybody on this panel, Eric, you're probably too far removed, but I've had a receiver for 8 seasons now, I believe, and I had to fight for a position, and so I can remember what that's like. I wanted to be a quarterback. I wanted to be a running back, and I had, I don't want to say I settled on a wide receiver, but when you see somebody that kind of reminds you of yourself in a way, very passionate about the league, has a good personality, I felt like that's who I want to see in those kinds of positions. I want every player to be like that, but when somebody is selfless like Josh is, that's who I feel like should be in those prime, quarterback, running back positions, because they are truly going to be a leader of the team. They're going to step up in the locker room and say the right things, set the right tone for your team. And again, can't say enough good things about J.Z. Bacon. So excited that he's coming back to us. Committing to the process, committing to the build. We want him with us as long as he's willing to stick around. I think I just kicked it to Eric. So Robert, why don't you fill us in on some stuff about Jay-Z?
Oh man, I just love interacting with Josh, Jay-Z, in the locker room, things like that. A lot of us in the locker room, for those of you that aren't in it, have the ability to say something that just completely derails everything. And Josh is definitely one of those where every once in a while you're like, what in the world did he just say? But it's fun. He's an amazing piece to our locker room, and even as a rookie and kind of a low position last season, really stepped up as a leader, and I think quickly became respected in the locker room, and that just shows a ton about his character.
Eric?
Yeah, he's one of the first people every day. You pop into the locker room every day. It's a great day to be a Toro. And those are the kind of guys that you want in the locker room that'll rally the troops, be like, hey, we're going through some stuff right now, ladies and germs, but you know what? This is great. It's great to be part of this team. It's another great, big, beautiful day. And those are the type of people you need. And then, like you said, Hacker, the amount of stuff that he does with this league, Crunch Time is such a great show, such a great addition to the league. He's right now he's turning up in the minors. Coming up with over almost 600 yards on the ground right now with San Jose. So, he's a guy that you want around, and that you definitely love talking to him as a person, and you're just happy that he's trusting the process, sort of thing, with your team.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said that last part any better. So now we're at the top here. We're rounding this out. We're at the last few signings here. And so going on with the next is going to be Nacho Sicario, going to come back at our cornerback 2 position. Nacho is one of the Toros co-owners. Nacho and I have been lifelong friends, been friends for longer than I can count. That's saying something. I'm on the stats team, but Nacho is for all of the public stuff that I try to do, for all of that goes on and all of the work that I do publicly, Nacho is doing that privately. And uh, just so much couldn't be done without him being a part of this franchise. So, on the field, he's a great player, has had a 9-10 season career, I believe. Fantastic player, has a great following around the community. But really, it's the stuff off the field, not only for the Toros, but for other community members. He helps with the content team. He helps people more than I think the public knows. But it's something that I couldn't be more proud to have a better, a partner like Nacho. He's so great. Helps me do all the things that I need to do. If something's out of line, he's there. He's got a plan for it, right? And it's we just balance each other out in a lot of ways. And so I'm super happy to have him with us again. Gonna do this forever, bro. We're gonna win us a ship. It's coming. Stick with us. We're gonna figure this out. Robert, you got anything?
I mean, he's got big shoes to fill with Adam moving from 2 to 1. Hopefully he can, pick off the ball. That was something that Adam did really well. That Nacho's got some cheesy hands, so hope for the best.
Eric?
He's the yin to your yang, man. I mean, this is such a great front office because of how you guys just gel together, and the great stuff that Nacho does, that Lewis does behind the scenes. Always a great guy to talk to. Always willing to help, and like you said, he does more than I think anybody really knows within the league and for the Toros and everything. So, yeah, love Lewis, love Nacho. Glad to have him back.
Absolutely. And now the final re-signing for the Toros is Stephen Hacker, signing at a 101.49 value. Yeah, I've always asked for player retirements. I think that this guy should be forced out of the league. He's way too old. I saw him, having to use bionic knees last season. I mean, it's just they need to get this guy out of the league. He's not good for it. Just get rid of him. But all that aside, 101.49 value. That was what we felt like the team needed to be, competitive. We did trim some of the animations, and if you're a free agent or a wide receiver in the league that's watching, Fort Worth is interested. We are interested in demoting Hackers. So if you want to be a wide receiver one, let's go, because we're interested in it. So Hackers had a really great run in the league. Not retiring yet, but we are very interested in pursuing options, the right person, the right candidate. We would love to give a promotion somewhere, some way. Maybe stay tuned. Free agency's coming up, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But Hacker has been the leading receiver for the Toros. The 1A to Robert Garrett's 1B. Very, very valuable weapon for the Toros. Eric, I don't really want to talk about myself much longer. Why don't you go ahead and say some things about this wide receiver?
Well, I'll say some things about the guy, too. The guy behind the wide receiver is who we all care about. He's the head honcho. He's the guy that makes this all tick and makes this all work. And, you're one of my favorite people in this league, man. Like I said, as soon as you said that this was going to be a possibility here with the Toros, I knew I wanted to be a part of it, and I still want to be a part of it. I'm a Toro till I die. So, very glad to have your player back. That's a good contract. Hopefully, we can start seeing some big time touchdowns out on the field. And yeah, hey, if we're looking for other options out there, there's nothing wrong with that. But hey, that's a good contract, and that's going to get some stuff done.
Robert?
I hate to tell you, but he can't go until that sponsorship with Stickum runs out. No, but I'm excited to have you back, be on the team with you. I was blessed that you hosted me a couple years back when I came down to visit. Nacho just conveniently got sick at the same time.
Just like here, right? You can't get him to come out of his shell, bro. It's impossible. He's always sick. There's always something.
But Always fun to hang out with you, talk with you, and love having you in the locker room, obviously.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Yeah, love having you guys. Again, I love the league and I love owning a team, but it's extremely motivating when I look up and I see a bunch of friends, right? People I consider friends, because that's motivating to me more than anything. I like to win. I like all that stuff, but I didn't join the league necessarily to win all the time. Like it was for me, I saw the community aspect. I saw, the ability to build and grow, and those are things that I like to do. And then we get to do it around football and all that stuff. So you guys being around, it's just extremely motivating for me. It helps get through the hard times, and so the fact that you guys believe in what we're doing and just continue to be yourselves every day, to me, I can never thank you guys enough just for being who you are, because it allows all of us to have fun, and wouldn't choose to have fun with anybody else, because as far as I see it, you guys are it, man. I mean, I have so much fun with everybody that's joined, and always looking for new friends, not trying to close the door on anybody, but it's been a lot of fun growing and building this thing with you guys. And so now we can close out the re-signings. We have finished that. But we've done some work this offseason, you guys, and panelists. You've been seeing it. Eric's, I believe his shirt just dropped today on Twitter. So that shirt is now in the store. And we're excited with this new thing we're doing. I know I saw Andy Hamilton do something with like a ham shirt and Ray Bentley, and that was great, And when we saw that, it's like there's room for that here. There's people would love that, And so we wanted to try and highlight and feature. We're going to try to do it for everybody on our team, but I think that we're trying to do stuff like that, have fun, right? Give people that opportunity. I know I've gotten some messages that people have already ordered the Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy shirt for Robert, and could be more excited that people love the idea. And so we're going to continue to try to create some interesting, fun shirts to put on our store. But I did want to highlight that. So the panels are going to go away, but just wanted to highlight our store for a minute. And Robert, if you wanted to talk about maybe some of the fun we had working up at least the ones that are shown here, we can talk about that for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over. Robert?
Yeah, it's just been a blast to make these shirts so far. Just, knowing the guys in the locker room like we do, and having these different ideas, being able to meld together and see something come out of it. And I'll be excited to see hopefully the community really picks up on it and is excited for it as well.
Eric, how does it feel to have your face on a shirt like that? How did that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I tweeted it out earlier that I've never considered myself much of a Cougar Tamer, but yet here we are. And that's pretty much how it and honestly, it is extremely cool. It's when you guys approached me with this idea and, hey, this is what we're trying to do, and, add a little bit more buzz across the league and with the team itself. It's a great idea. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? You got Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. I mean, that's the greatest thing I've seen. It's old Kate Stevens, the most interesting man in the SFL. Come on, how can you not like stuff like that?
Yeah, and I think the idea for Cougar Tamer was somewhere along the lines of your mom's favorite player. That was somewhere, because I know we've had that come up in some of our SF or our Toro game nights and stuff like that. So we really wanted to highlight the fact that you're out there on the prowl all the time, and you can put them down. We thought it in the picture, we thought it really lined up really well with the whole theme of what we were trying to go with there. I thought it was really funny. Same thing with Cade, just trying to have fun with stuff, man. We want to take ourselves seriously in how we conduct ourselves, but we also want to display our personality. We like to have a little fun. We have a sense of humor. We don't take everything so seriously that, we're just these tightwads or something, so we're just trying to have a little fun. We felt like this was something that, some of our friends within the league would really like, not only on our team, but, other SFL members. And we hope to see other SFL I know Minnesota's been doing a lot of stuff, putting out a lot of merchandise, and so I hope other teams kind of follow suit and find ways to promote their teams and their brand and their visibility. I think we've been extremely happy with this most recent merchandise vendor, and it's been really well. Been exciting, and it's something that we wanted to do. Again, just not only for us, but for anybody else that might be interested, that might be a fan of one of our great players. Not just Eric or Robert or myself or Kate. Again, we're going to try to do it for everybody on our team, and as soon as we can try to make all that stuff work. So we've got more ideas, more things in the works. We're going to release those in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that stuff. You can find that in the team content. It will post there, or you can follow our Twitter. All that stuff will be posted on Twitter. So we did the team store, and then I'm trying to think of what all I had wanted to say. Team store, got it. All right. So do you guys have anything from tonight that you wanted to talk about before we get into like a free form? I don't know if you guys are looking at any of the other re-signings from other teams that you wanted to talk about, but I will open it up for, it's 7:02 my time, so we'll open it maybe 7:15, another 12, 15 minutes or so before we get out of here. But anything from tonight, first off, that you guys want to cover?
I mean, I'm just happy to be back, man. Like, this is the next stage of the off season, and the off season's always a grind, and it's one of those things where as soon as you get the off season out of the way, the sooner you can get back on the field, and that's what we all love to do and what we all love to see. And step one complete. Let's move on to free agency and the draft, and let's get back out on the field.
Absolutely. Robert?
I'm ready to get rolling. I'm excited for Monday, hoping to make some splashes and create some conversations and things. But for now, I'm excited for this next day of rest. Maybe we'll figure out some kind of Toros game or something to do tomorrow. I don't know.
That would be nice. Yeah, if we can organize that overnight, it'd be awesome. You actually hinted on what I was wanting to talk about. I'm glad you said something, because I was wanting to say that the free agency, these are all re-signings. These are all players that were on our team last season that we have re-signed to our team. We had a couple of departures. And so with that, we are going to test the free agency market. We are expecting to have some free agents signed. Some names that maybe you've heard of. Hopefully you have. And but that will open up Monday, as Robert alluded to. So really, really excited for the free agency period to open, to get all these names, announced and see who's going to move, who's going where. With the 4 expansion teams, there's going to be a lot of free agency moves. And so it'll be really interesting, really fun to see where all these names get announced. I'm sure the free agents cannot wait. They've been having to wait the longest. So I know they're all excited. We're all excited with them. Eddie said that in the chat that he had a couple of questions. I wish he would ask them.
He did. He asked who our free agent signings are.
Okay.
I said we're signing Eddie Gage.
Yep.
Sorry, I avoided it.
Yep. Sorry, Eddie. That's very unfortunate for you. We're building something special here this season, and we just had to void yours. That's just the way it is.
Reach Prasad signing still. Oh shit.
Yeah, wow, dang it. I saw JL joined in the Twitch chat, Bad Dad Gaming. What are your thoughts? It says, what are your thoughts on how teams are managing the cap this season? I don't have any speculation, man. We tend to stay in our own lane, especially during this time of the season. We got our own problems. We got our own things to worry about. I've heard the complaint that it's too hard to meet the 1,800 cap. Yeah, maybe. Robert, I mean, we had to work, right? But we're gonna get there. So,
no, just kidding.
So it's just one of those. I don't know until I start seeing it, right? But I'm not at the point where I'm trying to worry about what other teams are doing. with their cap. I mean, like I said, I'm interested to see who signs where, and once we get a little closer to the draft, I'll start looking at team cap values and where they are, how much they have left. But I'm not into that at this point. The only reason I dive into other teams' caps is just to do the draft show. I mean, like I said, for the most part, we're all fighting the same battle. I mean, I'm more worried about winning my fight than if other people are winning theirs. If that answers your question at all. Robert, you're an owner here. You want to take a stab at that by any chance? What do you feel about that?
I mean, it seems like it was at some way, shape, or form a struggle. We had it figured out pretty quick, other than the one error. But it's gonna be tough when there's no movement. Obviously, it's just a matter of seeing how teams are able to manage it, I suppose.
Yeah, it's tough. I will say, it is tough. It's hard to have those conversations. To you have to go to a player and ask them to return or remove some animations or whatever. But I've always been under the like the mode or whatever you want to call it. But I just feel like if you've been around for longer, then you should understand more that there are other players needing to grow, that there is a cap here. Like you have a better understanding of the system. And so I feel like when you go to those players and you ask them to remove cap or animations or value, whatever you want to call it, that those players should be more understanding of it. Now you don't want to go to them and ask them to remove everything. You want to, again, it's about trust. It's how you handle it in those contract negotiations. Do they have 5 animations and you're trying to take away all 5? Well, yeah, I can understand why they don't want to sign with you. If they have 5 animations and you ask them, hey, we can stick with 3, but we got to cut 2, I feel like they should be. I feel like players at the top should be understanding of that. We have to remove this value to allow other players to grow into their value. And it's a philosophical thing. It's a philosophy thing, right? Like, do you want players to be able to grow forever and just have superstar players on every team? I'm under the philosophy I don't like that idea. Now I do want players to be able to obtain, and you should be able to keep that value. If you sign a contract that reduced your value, you agreed to that. But if you don't want to sign a contract, if you want to be a max value, fine. But you have to understand that that's like, if you have $100 and somebody's trying to take up $99 of it, that's the choice that you have to make. The owners have to make, the players have to make. So you can go out and take up as much percentage of a cap as you want, but are you hurting your team? And so I think that again, those are hard conversations to have. But I'm under the philosophy of like, we're not going to keep players around for forever and keep players beneath them. Our philosophy is to try to grow players and then have the top end players either eventually retire or eventually get their own team where they can keep their value. You know what I mean? So it's recycled in a way, but we always try to promote and grow players because we feel like that's the best. That's the reason this all exists. It doesn't exist so that we can recycle a player every season where it's just the same build and they just rinse, cycle, repeat. I don't feel like that's why people are here. I'm not. Maybe other people are, but I'm not here for that. I want players to have a natural life cycle. These sim players, I want them to have a life cycle. Now 10 seasons, 20 seasons, I don't know. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to talk about it. I don't want to sit here and act like I have all the right answers. But I would be willing to listen to it. I would be willing to talk about stuff like that. Player regression, not forced player retirement, but a natural retirement that just, I'm willing to explore those options because I think that they're good for the league. Because I think if you listen to what the minor leagues are saying right now is that they don't feel like they're getting their opportunity. And so it's hard to account for everyone. It's hard to get everybody their shine, right? But I think where we are now is kind of could use some improvement, in my opinion. When you have players that can play for 20 seasons or forever, eventually you're going to cap an opportunity for somebody. So somebody like myself, that's why I'm totally okay with retiring my player. I have so many other opportunities in the SFL that a wide receiver is, while it's fun, I have so many other responsibilities. I have so many other things that I could be doing, but I'm taking up a wide receiver one spot, and I have Cade Stevens and Charlie Baker and a whole other group of wide receivers in the league that want that opportunity. And it just maybe doesn't mean as much to me as it does to them. And why am I taking that from them? That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, and I think he answered his second question too, because he was asking about, what's your thought on teams spreading the wealth, looking to win by a team collaborative effort versus teams who sign a select group to superstar contracts, requiring them to ball out to win. And I think you touched on that pretty well with that as well. That and yeah, I agree with your philosophy, Hack. That it gets to a point where you want to see the next generation shine, and it's selfish in a way to always want to be in the spotlight. It just doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. So expecting that to happen in a league like this where you obviously want as many people as possible to join in on the fun and join the community and have a good time with this and meet as many people as we have. The only way to really do that is to create an opportunity somewhere, and this league is full of them, but the main one obviously is on the field. And for someone that has had success for a good amount of time, you get to a point naturally where you're just like, okay, well, I've had my fun with these toys. Let me go ahead and pass the toys along to somebody else who wants to play with them.
And I do speak from a privileged position. Again, I have my own team, and so I don't want people to feel like if you have only a player, you don't have a team, you're not a general manager or a coach, or you know what I mean. Like if your player is it for you, I get it. But for somebody like me, I have more. I have more opportunities to do things, and that's why I feel how I feel. Is because I don't want to take your opportunity. I really don't, because I have so many other opportunities, and I feel like anybody can get to where Nacho and myself got and Robert got, right? But it's how much time we were willing to dedicate. So again, I think when we're willing to dedicate so much time, our fun is not always with our player. Our fun is in recruiting players, building the team strategy, right? And so I feel like it is selfish to say, well, I'm going to hog up this wide receiver one spot. And we've had a lot of off-season discussions about it, about my player specifically, and how we feel like how we want to replace the player, but it's hard to go out and find a player that mirrors what my build is, and find that player that's willing to move from another team, right? Because like once you kind of get to the certain status, you're kind of locked in, right? So it's hard to move that away, but not a lot of team owners. Houston has 2 wide receivers now, so it'll be really interesting to see how they approach that, because they're effectively taking away 2 opportunities now. But it's how they want to do it, right? It's up to them. DR Sim is a legend in the league. I don't want to take anything away from him, but it's also one of those things. It's like, in my opinion, you had your time in the sun. I mean, you've had that opportunity. Let somebody else have at it, and then, I mean, you can start again as a base cop or anything, and then have another 10-year career, right? But then while you're growing through your 10-year career, you're growing for 4 of those seasons. 10 season career, you're growing through 4 to 5 of those seasons, effectively giving somebody an opportunity to be a wide receiver 1 or 2 for 5 seasons. And then on the tail end of your 10 season career, now you're a superstar. You're the owner of the team, right? If you want to move into that wide receiver 1 spot, go for it, man. But you at least have created some kind of life cycle where people at least get an opportunity. They get the opportunity, and that's really important to us, is that people get their opportunity. We want people that earn it. We don't just want to hand opportunity to somebody. We want people that come in and understand that this is supposed to be a long-term thing. This is not supposed to be 6 months and you're done. We want people that are invested. And so if you invest with us, you're going to see a return on your benefit in our organization. If you want to grow as a staff member, you want to coach, we'll teach you, but we're not going to make you the head coach if you have no experience whatsoever. Or if we don't understand what kind of work that you're able to do, we may want to test the waters, right? So we very much have a like earn it mentality here. It's like we're not just going to make you the top dog. Like you have to have some skins on the wall, some notches in the armor, so to speak, and where we trust that you're going to be able to do the work and do the things. And so I don't know, man. Like that's just how we look at it. We want people to view their experiences like I saw the benefit. I saw the longevity. Me personally, I feel like the last 3 to 4 seasons of my player's career, I've just been doing the same, going through the motions in terms of how I progress my player, and I feel like it's just, I don't want to say I'm not having fun. It's just it's not what I want anymore. I want a new challenge, So I think that would be how I feel about that, and I'm rambling. Eddie says he's going to consider retirement once he gets a pick 6, so maybe this season he'll get one. He said to add on to the teams that will invest all of that money into one player, and then that one player has a really high expectation. I think there's room for that in the league. Again, that's kind of the ebbs and flow of a market, and so if a team wants to go and get a really, really top-heavy player, there's room for that. Do I think that that's a way to win? Yeah, sure. Do I think it's the right or wrong way? We would try not to do that personally, but we did it. Fort Worth did that our first season to fulfill cap. So we went out and we signed players like Jason Williams, like Eric Vincent, like Steven Hacker, and we signed them to the very top of their value so that we could be close to the cap, because we knew going into the draft we were going to have to field a 20-team player, a 20-player roster. So we had to sign as many players as we could at as high a value as possible. So there's more than one way to build a team. Not every team is in the same situation season to season. So I think teams do things for a variety of different reasons, and some of those reasons could be, Eddie losing 2 premier wide receivers, So if you lose 2 premier wide receivers, what are the odds that you're going to find 2 players to replace that value? Not very good. So you now have some cap that you can bump maybe onto like one really, really big player, and then you're just going to go out and test the waters and get the next highest value wide receiver you can. So it's just more than one way to do it, and so I don't think that there is any right or wrong way. It's just we feel like in Fort Worth, we feel like the best way to do it is to grow with people, and if they have the value, you let them keep it for as long as you can within your team structure, but you tell your players that, hey man, we're going to keep you as ballooned as possible as long as we can, but at a certain point there's a scale that we have to balance here, and we're not trying to take you out of the scale or out of the equation. It's just, if you want to be a part of the equation, you got to work with us. That's pretty much how the conversation goes. Frozen face cams, it's because I clicked off. It's whenever I try to click over and read the chat, it freezes the feed for whatever reason. I need to figure that out. We're still learning how to do these things. We're always we want to do it. We want people to tune in, have a avenue for content. So we're learning on the fly, trying new things. I was super excited that I got the scenes set up, that we had like the different looks to everything. That took longer than I should be proud to admit, but we got through it. Nacho and I got Eric and Robert in here. Got their feeds coming through for the most part. I didn't.
Success.
Go ahead. I love it. I can't.
And I'd say it's a success today, man.
Yeah, it's gone off pretty well. We didn't void any contracts. We did that perfectly. Thank you again, Nacho, for being behind the scenes and in sync with us, making sure that we get everything taken care of. Thanks to everybody that's viewing, watching us right now. I got 12 viewers, so that's awesome. I'm not sure how many we had at one point, but I want to thank everybody for being here with us on a Saturday. Just before the free agency period kicks off, I believe that That was going to be on ESTV. Is that right, guys? The free agency show is going to be on ESTV. Fantastic. Love that. Love that. That's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to watch that. And does Fort Worth ever consider doing something like a pre or post game show? I actually thought it would be really cool to do a Friday night, like 12:01 midnight. Do a midnight show after playbooks have been submitted. I thought that would be really cool to get 3 or 4 coaches on. And hey, playbook got submitted. Let's hear it right now. What was driving you crazy? What are you excited about? What's driving you crazy? What are you most excited about this next matchup? I think that would be really fun. So Eddie's saying he's considering doing it. Dude, Eddie, I think you should do it. I think people would be much more willing to talk to you. So I think that would be perfect for you. At midnight, but you got a family. I don't have a family, bro. It's all me. So I can do that and it not get in the way. But I think it would be awesome. I think it would be really fun to get those responses from people who just put in the work throughout the week. Give them a chance to, make a name for themselves. I think there's something to it. Like it's like Babe Ruth calling a shot. So everybody's playbooks are in. There's no changing it. This is what it is. Be bold. Swing for the fences, man, and see what happens. Right now, you can crash and burn, or you, like I said, you can hit a freaking home run while everybody's watching, dude, and elevate yourself to the stratosphere. So I think that it would be really cool to do something like that. Eddie, you're not nobody, man. You have a great presence around, and like I said, people trust you. People want to talk to you. I think that that's really valuable in that kind of environment. People respect what you have to say about the game, not only about APF but about the game of football. So I think that it would be natural for you to take on something like that. Would we do a pre or post game show in the event that you do something like that? Absolutely. We would love to do content. We're looking to find where that void is right now, because there's so many great shows during the course of the week. Netma and your show, Eddie, and Ashley Jackson's show, Crunch Time. There's so many great things going on. So we're trying to figure out where the most need is, right? We could do a Saturday morning coffee before the games kick off, or after the game. We could do all kinds of stuff. So yes, we are very interested in that kind of stuff. Robert, Eric, y'all got anything y'all want to elaborate or add to that?
No, I mean that would definitely be a lot of fun if we could be able to do that. I know schedules are always tough and tight. When we have game days and things like that, and game schedules seem to be constantly changing as well. So you never quite know what you're gonna get each season.
Right.
But that's good news. Yeah, it's definitely intriguing. I like those ideas. I'd be open for something like that. It's just a matter of making sure everybody matches up.
Robert?
I mean, yeah, I'd be down to do it. It just kind of, like he said, depends on schedules. Working on Saturdays kind of sucks in that aspect because, well, I can't really hang out in the locker room at work.
Yeah.
But I do my best, and always fun hanging out. So
Awesome. So yes, very very interested in delivering content. Trying to find our voice. Again, I think that that's something we're very interested in this season, is trying to take what we are a little more public. I feel like that's kind of what we're focusing on, and displaying our personality for more than just us, and just driving home the fact that we feel like we're the best team in the SFL. We feel like if you come here, it's not only a win for you, it's a win for us. And, we're going to do everything to celebrate you that we can. We're always trying to improve. And that's something that I feel like, I don't want to say other teams aren't trying to do that, but we're not afraid to go out and try something different. We want to give people opportunities. And so we're, flexible in a way that, we'll do stuff. We just want to do stuff the right way. And so, if you're somebody that's looking for free and easy, or, I don't know how else to say it, but free and easy is not going to come. It's not going to come from here. We're not just going to roll something out if it's half the effort. We try to do everything whole ass. We don't half ass anything. We whole ass everything. And so I think that's again, if you look at our team and the people that contribute for our team, it's apparent. So I think that we're really excited about it. I think we'll find where we want to go, and each show that we do, we're going to learn and figure out ways to improve and be better. I don't see any more questions. We went about 10 minutes past the 7:15 mark. Robert, Eric, thank you guys for being here with me, making this a lot easier to go through and have somebody to bounce some stuff off of. Robert, you should definitely try to do something about Toro game night. And other than that, thank you to everybody watching, now up to 15 viewers. If you guys have any ideas, DM me if you guys are interested in like doing like a group thing. Like we're interested in bringing on guests and having people from the community come on. It's just we're still, like I said, trying to figure out how we want to do things. And I know Michael Percoco is for sure one of the first people we're going to bring on. Michael was supposed to come on our very first show. Had some hiccups in scheduling, with not on his part, on our part. So Percoco is going to be one of our first guests if we do open that up that way. But thanks everybody for being here. Super excited for season 19. Toro Love, thank you guys for being here and re-signing with us. Nacho, again, behind the scenes for everything that you do. Thank you so much, man. We'll catch you guys down the road and see y'all later.
See you.